Imagine holding a fragile glass filled with water. Someone bumps into you and it shatters. Do you blame the person who bumped you, or do you focus on how tightly you held the glass? Now imagine if that glass were your emotions. This story might change how you see your reactions forever. Hey everyone! Before we dive into this incredible story, I noticed that many of you enjoy my content but haven't subscribed yet. Subscribing is absolutely free and helps me create more stories you'll love. So if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. It really means the world to me. Now let's get started. Once upon a time, a man approached Gautam Buddha, tormented by his uncontrollable emotions. His anger and frustration were ruling his life, and he desperately sought advice on how to regain control. Buddha smiled, inviting him to sit down. "Let me tell you a story," Buddha said, his serene voice captivating the man. Once upon a time, in a prosperous kingdom, there lived a mighty king. One day, he decided to visit a neighboring kingdom ruled by a wise and humble king. When he arrived, the neighboring king welcomed him warmly and prepared a grand feast in his honor. During the feast, the visiting king noticed a fly in his soup. Disgusted, he slammed his bowl down and demanded another. "How dare such a thing happen?" he fumed. The wise king, observing the scene, smiled gently and said, "Your Majesty, it's just a small fly. Why let it ruin your mood?" The visiting king retorted, "Even a tiny nuisance can spoil everything. I cannot tolerate such imperfections." The wise king leaned forward and said, "Your Majesty, it is not the fly that spoiled your mood, but your reaction to it. You hold the power to control your emotions. Do not let small disturbances rob you of peace." The visiting king dismissed the advice, scoffing at its simplicity. That night, however, he was haunted by a peculiar dream. In it, he saw himself surrounded by endless flies. His anger grew uncontrollably, and each time he swatted one away, 10 more appeared, buzzing louder and closer. He awoke in a cold sweat, the wise king's words echoing in his mind. The next day, back in his kingdom, the visiting king began to reflect. Slowly, he started practicing patience and mindfulness. Over time, he transformed into a ruler known not for his temper, but for his calm demeanor and fair judgment. Buddha paused, letting the story sink in. "What do you think?" he asked the man. The man nodded, intrigued but skeptical. "It's a good story, but controlling emotions isn't that simple." Buddha smiled knowingly. "Let me share another example," he said. In another part of the world, there lived a young man named Michael. Michael was a very emotional person. He often reacted impulsively to situations that upset him, saying hurtful things in anger and causing damage to his relationships. One day, after a particularly painful argument with a close friend, Michael decided he needed to change. He began practicing mindfulness and meditation. Initially, it was challenging, and he often found himself slipping back into old habits. However, with persistence, Michael started to notice small changes. Whenever something upset him, he would pause, take a deep breath, and step back. Instead of reacting immediately, he allowed himself time to process his emotions and respond thoughtfully. Over time, he found that this approach not only helped him control his emotions, but also improved his relationships. One day, Michael's friend came to him for advice, upset about a personal matter. Michael listened calmly and offered thoughtful support. His friend remarked, "You always seem so composed. How do you do it?" Michael replied, "It's not that I don't feel angry or upset. I've learned not to let my emotions control me. The power lies in responding, not reacting." "Remember this," Buddha concluded, "your emotions are like waves. You can't stop them from coming, but you can choose which ones to surf. Reacting impulsively often leads to destruction, while thoughtful responses bring clarity and peace." The man left Buddha that day, ready to embark on his journey of mastering his emotions. And just like the two kings and Michael, he discovered the profound truth that peace comes not from changing the world, but from changing how we respond to it. Let this story remind you that the power to control your emotions lies within you. The next time you feel anger bubbling up, pause and ask yourself, is it the situation that's bothering me or my reaction to it? Master your emotions and you'll master your life. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, comment, and share it with someone who might need a little motivation today. And of course, hit that subscribe button for more stories like this. Thanks for watching.